What's going on, everybody? Let's talk about Bitcoin. We've got a longer video today. We're going to cover a lot of different things with this new recent move that happened. Before we get started, make sure to hit like on the video, subscribe, and if you share the tweet for me, I'd appreciate it. Let's get some more people in front of this video. In the last video, we talked about a continuation pattern here. I showed you why I thought we were forming a continuation pattern here. And I compared it to previous moves and how we had broken out of this third leg, and it was likely that we were heading up. I also talked about how I wanted to maintain the higher lows. And we essentially did until here. So we closed below this low here, and this low, and now this low as well. So this last move was not part of our continuation structure. Now the bullish arguments become, okay, well, maybe we have an expanded flat here. Is this possible? Is it possible? Sure. It's hideous. Is it possible? Maybe. But we'd have to get over the downtrend. We'd have to form some kind of structure here to say yes. So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about why I've flipped to the bearish side for the time being and possible long-term outlook for what it could mean. We could have a bounce soon. I'm personally short. I don't think this is going to bounce very hard at all. I actually think we're going to bleed pretty low in the next couple of days. If we look at just the daily chart, let's take the drawings back off here. Maybe. There we go. You see the daily flipped red. After we reached a low here, we had a couple of smaller bars that weren't even close to recovering this move. So personally, I think it's pretty likely that we do continue down. Even another bounce would probably be met with more downside. Now, I've been asked many times about a trend line. Let's go to the 3-day chart. I've been asked about this trend line right here. Catching this pivot and this pivot. Let me make it quite clear that I am strict on trend lines, and this is not a downtrend. There is a trend there, but it's only sideways. There's no downtrend because we have a high, we have a low, we have a lower high, and a higher low. A downtrend implies that the lower high leads to a lower low. We would have needed to break this for this to be a downtrend. Could this line be relevant? Sure. In my system, I'm not using it at all. I don't consider this a relevant line for the reason I just explained to you. Could it be the end of a sideways trend and we've started expansion out of it? It could. But if that's the case, then we can't confirm a lower high here. And right now, it sure looks like a lower high. We can instead draw this line here. Let me just drag it out, actually. And right now, it looks like continued price contraction. Let's actually flip this over to a log chart. It makes it a little more clear. I may have to adjust the lines that I just drew, but that's okay. You can see how much more symmetrical the price action is this way. If we take this one off, we're now looking to confirm another low somewhere. Is that low here? In my opinion, probably not. Is it down here? It's possible. Can't rule it out yet. But for now, we need to assume until the daily flips back to positive, we need to assume that the route is down and not up. 4 hour is right as well. If the 4 hour were to flip positive, then that would suggest we have at least a larger correction here before more downside. At best, a 4 hour flip would lead to the daily flip I'm talking about, and we would continue up. So this price contraction is something I've talked about for quite some time. And I already posted this on Twitter, so you might be able to see it. But we have this chart here that I published in November of 2019. Let me see if I can zoom in a little here. Won't let me zoom. That's all right. So it's calling for some kind of contracting flat here in a larger move up, looking for approximately 12.5 around the end of July. If we hit the play button on this, you can see we got 12.5 in mid-August. So time and price was pretty dang accurate. Now the sub action, the sub waves in here, not even close. This was our March drop. It dropped us out of my projections before we recovered back into it. This chart alone makes me wonder if we may just be here. I talked about multiple times how we had this move up and we thought this move would be correlated with this move. But if we look at the daily chart, I was already wondering why there was so much weakness in this move compared to this one. So you see this move here stayed positive, stayed blue the entire time, where this one over here had a red flip there, had a red flip here. This was one bar, but it's still there. And then we quickly flipped to red right here. Whereas over here, it took us about 22 bars, or no, 25 bars versus less than 15 over here. So this move, in comparison to this move, was quite weak. And that by itself makes me wonder if we were not in this move at all. Perhaps we still have a move down. Likely we would take out this one. Let me redo that. We would likely take out this low before a larger move up related to this move here. Because I'm on log, it distorts it a little bit. But we'd still be looking at a 17 or 18,000 target. Now there is one downtrend, one valid downtrend that we broke. We had a high here, low, a high here, and a lower low. So the high led to a low, led to a lower high, and a lower low. This is a valid downtrend. I accept this as a downtrend, and we did break that downtrend. It's the larger line from 20,000 that I don't like. Could this line be relevant? Could we come down here and reverse, or come down here and consolidate before faking out below it? I think that's very possible. Let's look at the weekly chart real quick. And let's turn log off. Actually, I like it. No, I can't. Let's leave log off. I'll show you why in just a second. If we grab the bars pattern from this move, I have two thoughts. First of all, it's clear to me that this move down was complete. We have a first wave of correction. Behind it, we don't know for sure if this wave is complete, but you have the option that is complete here, or that is complete over here. Once we finish a second wave of correction, we expect the third wave of correction to be similar to the first wave of correction. However, I've already told you that I would expect contracting price action. This is common to reset indicators and prepare for the next move up. Some might call it a triangle. It's not a triangle per Elliott wave rules, but it does begin to look very triangular. Especially in log, it looks very triangular. If I drag this around, it moves, it changes a lot. The shape of it changes a lot when I'm in log, so it's kind of hard to use. However, we could resize it like this and give us that contracting price action. It actually looks pretty good in log this way. Can't find the end of it. So if we make it smaller this way, could this move be related to this one? For me, that's too extreme. Maybe it's a little taller than that. Something like this, right? And then we're calling this a W, X, Y. Is that possible? Could we have a structure like this? Yeah, I like it. It's all right. However, we still have people that were buying at 20K and 18K that are ready to sell off. So I think there's a very real possibility that when we reach those levels, we do have this larger sell-off. And our move looks more like this. Where have we seen this before? I've shown you the Amazon fractal in the past. Let me turn log off. It looks better without log. So I'm suggesting that we thought we were breaking out of this move, but in reality, we weren't. You see, it took out this move, this number 6, but it fell short of 4 and it fell short of 2 and it fell short of the 0. So I'm not counting an Elliott wave pattern or anything like that. I'm just counting pivots here to show how many times we pivoted in this move down. So we had the large move down, a move up, and another large move down. In the move up, we had a long extended move down. Oops, dagnabbit. So measuring the time of this move up compared to this move down, you see this move down took longer than the move up. And this was the fastest move. So in our move up, the move down took longer than the rest of it, without question. And we have 9 pivots. If I look at Bitcoin, oops, missed a little bit. We have some differences. The 6 was higher than the 4. That wasn't true on Amazon. However, when I count it out, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we were missing another low here. So it's very possible that we do come back down here. And I'll show you these high volume levels, how I determine these levels in just a minute. It's very possible that we are still in something complex here. The second wave of this already took longer than this first move up. So we don't have to come all the way down here for this to be a completed move. But right now, I am not sure if this is a completed move. I'm not sure that this is WX and we've started Y. If we started Y, and I'm right about this being a WXY at all, then Y should realistically come way down at $1,000. In my opinion, we need more space for that Y to form so that it's not going to $1,000. It's going to 7,000, 6,400. If we turn on the volume profile, we now have a point of control right at 9,300. There's a pretty decent chance that we can get a bounce here at 9,300. How high is that bounce? How long does it sustain? It's not clear. Could it be something like this? It could. Could it be something like this? It could. For now, at least until the daily flips back positive, I'm expecting any bounces to be for shorting. If the weekly or 3-day chart flip red, then that pretty much confirms the idea that we have a larger move down here. Now, 3 days is still pretty far from flipping red. The weekly is even further. This entire piece here, now we had a point of control down here, right? This is the long time point of control. But if we take out this price action and only look at the corrective activity from the 20K high, we have a massive area of volume right in here. This whole thing is a volume area. I think it's very possible that we see more time in here. and eventually we would break out of it. But even then, I'm suggesting that our move down could retest it one more time. For right now, this moment, my high time frame expectation has moved to something like this. It's hard for me to see this move here as a move related to this move. So I can't have an A, B, C if this move isn't related to this one. I think we may still be forming some kind of B. This move down might even sweep this 5. In March, our move down was exaggerated by COVID, the COVID reaction. I don't think that we come back down and sweep this 7. I believe that we will continue to make higher lows. But that higher low could be in the 5,700 range. That would test the lows here. We would probably base before we have this larger expansion to the upside. So again, how am I wrong? If daily flips positive, I'm wrong. I have no issue with that. I would like to see the daily flip positive. I would like to see price continue up. I make more money in a bull market than I do in the bear market. However, if you look at some of the other coins, you go and look at Lend versus Bitcoin. Its move was just absolutely massive. To think that this won't make a major correction would be silly. If you can short Lend, you still have time. This will probably come retest this high. There's no Lend perp on FTX, but I believe you can short this on Binance. That doesn't mean that you need to go in with 50x leverage. We're talking about another 40% fall from here. Link, same thing. Link just turned red. It just flipped red on the daily on the current bar. Will it come down all the way to this level? I don't know. I think it'll at least come down to here. I am short Link. I'll probably close it around here. There will be some massive opportunities to buy these coins. People will be scared. It hasn't even broken the uptrend yet. My suggestion would be that it would do something like this. For further upside. XTZ. So this chart was drawn in standard, not log. If we're looking at the log chart, we could potentially come a little lower. Perhaps. So I grabbed this one before. You could grab this high, or you could grab this low, and perhaps see those levels. But I'm short on XTZ, looking for as low as 1.4, 1.2. If we turn it off log, it could bounce around 1.8. If this structure is accurate, we would expect an absolutely massive move out of XTZ. With very limited drawdowns after a basing structure here. We've already seen the same thing from Link. That's exactly what Link did here. We've got a massive three-wave correction, a flat correction. After this low here, we put in a basing pattern, and then drawdown was very minimal. We just continued out of that basing pattern. So I'm watching XTZ for that to happen. If we look at ETH, my bullish case for ETH was that we formed some kind of continuation pattern right over this, which could have been support. Well, it's broken. This is now resistance above us. Any tests of this level are probably bearish tests with more downside. I am not of the mindset that we will have a large bounce. I am of the mindset that this move down has started and it will be pretty quick. Into the 200s is likely. I already said that ETH would never trade below 300 again, but it's going to trade below 300. I don't believe that it will trade below 200. My opinion on ETH is a little different than on Bitcoin. And if you look at the ETH Bitcoin chart, I believe ETH will show strength over Bitcoin over the next couple of years. On Ethereum, I do believe that we had a move down, a basing pattern, and we're starting to move up. So pullbacks here will probably result in something like that. And you can see this same pattern on the Bitcoin chart before. We had a base, we had an impulse up, and then a consolidation before more upside. I think I think Ethereum may be in here. And once it does start to bounce, it would see a better move than what Bitcoin does. But our high was 490. The high on Ethereum was 486, right? 490. 488.95. Our high right here is 501.22. It's pretty uncanny for these moves to be almost identical. I think some kind of consolidation making higher lows is very likely and a strong buy signal long term. All right, guys, I think I've talked about everything that I really had to cover. I would have already changed my profile picture on Twitter to a bear, but I think there's a good chance that we get a significant bounce in the near future. So I'd be changing my picture to a bear only to have this bounce happen shortly after. But be cautious trying to knife catch, because it's very possible that we just continue down lower. So watch some other charts as well. Watch Link. Watch Link to reach around $7 and around $5. If Link reaches those levels fast enough, then it's likely that we have a bottom in. Ethereum is another one. Right in here in the 250 range, we should be able to find some support for a bounce. Where did the BLX chart bounce? After this move up, BLX chart came back to 310 type range, 290 to 310. However, it is of note that the low here was not as low as Ethereum went, 198. Versus here, we came from $90. So we would expect a little more retracement. In fact, let's measure the retracement there. %50 retracement. Measure this one. Guess I need a fib to do that. %50 retracement would put us right around 200. Those are both in log. Those are both based on log numbers. If we turn log off, you're looking at more like 62.5. Some would call it the golden pocket. Golden pocket retracement might be a very solid buy on Ethereum. Don't feel like you need a knife catch. We're probably not going to just reverse immediately. We're probably going to have some kind of reversal printing where we start grinding up out of this move down, and then we accelerate out of that grind up. All right, guys, that's all I've got. Unfortunately, I'm a bear. I hate bears. I hate myself, but I don't really have any other option right now. This is what we were watching before, and we simply fell short here. So now the question becomes, are we making this, or are we still in a subwave of this move here before the larger move up? I'm leaning towards this option. I'm leaning towards more complexity, and this would take us through late next year, most likely. You saw the alt season during this move up. The alt season here is going to be even greater. Hopefully we will be prepared. I'm already positioned better financially. I made money on this move down. I made money on this move up. And I'm making money right now on the shorts. So when we come back down, hopefully we are more prepared financially to take advantage of this move up. How am I wrong? Daily flips positive. If daily flips positive, then it's unlikely that we get this buy-in. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video.